Okay, hopefully this will be a helpful video. It's going to be how to assemble a Harbor Freight portable garage. You've seen them before, they look very similar. Actually, that is one of them there. That one's about 10 years old, it's been retarped. But you've seen them in the Harbor Freight catalogs where they're approximately 260 bucks. But depending on the season, if you buy these in the spring, they can go as low as 159 bucks. So beware of that. But what I'm going to do now is show you a video on how to assemble this thing. I'm by myself today, so it's going to take about an hour. But we're going to go step by step on how to get one of these tents assembled. Step one is you want to lay out all your equipment. It includes a variety of pipes, and the floor pieces here comes with some tarps and some other hardware. And so you want to pick somewhere nice and flat, and here on this section of lawn it's pretty good. You get 6 floor pieces, and it really doesn't matter which way they go as long as the metal, this pole here, is on the outside of the loop here, because this is where our walls are going to go up. We want to keep that on the inside for weather protection. And when you buy it brand new, of course, it's all platinum plastic. You got to all unwrap that. This one's about 2 years old. I put it together several times. But you get the floor pieces, and you get this little metal joint in the middle, and it bolts on either end to bolt these pieces together. So what you want to do is first assemble that. It also includes these cross members here, and they'll fold wide open. I've got one folded up right here. And on the end pieces, you'll have a bolt but nothing to bolt it to. They actually bolt into this support, and this is what keeps each side of the garage together. Okay, so I've got the base all screwed together using these bolts. It just uses a set of pliers and a flathead screwdriver. The next step is to put these little hand springs in. And these springs, and you want to put them on the inside hole. They go right here through the holes here in the front and the back on each corner. And what these do is when we tie down the big tarp that goes over the whole thing, this is where the rope will tie to. So this will be the part of the base of the entire structure. So you'll get 4 of those. You'll need to put them on each corner. Once you set those on, I got a tape measure right there. I'm gonna measure the diagonals and make sure it's square. So we're relatively level. Make sure it's square. Then we're gonna hammer this thing down. We've got the base measured. It is now square. It was 222.5 inches off each corner here. Once you have that set, you've got the springs in. Take these spikes, and you have 18 of them, 9 on each side, and everywhere there's a big hole like this one here, you want to take and drive this right into the ground. Now this is real clay-like soil. It goes right in nice. Here's a tip for you. Do it when the ground is thawed out, because I had to put one of these up in late November and the ground was frozen, and those were incredibly hard to get in. So this is late October, the ground's nice and soft, but hammer all those in, and don't be skimpy. Put them all in, because this is what holds your portable garage right to the ground, and it fundamentally keeps it from blowing away. Okay, so we've got our 18 stakes in, and they went in real easy, and they'll freeze right to the ground, so this will pretty much be down for the season. Next we're going to start assembly, and so we've got a variety of pipes here. We have these long pipes, and these are the ones we're going for right now. You have 12, 6 on each side, and then later on we'll use these shorter pipes, and we've got about, I think, 15 of these, and they're actually what goes lengthwise, but these are the up and down ones. So right now I'm going to go ahead and put all of those in each of these little sockets you see here in the base. The base pieces are up. Next step is a middle course of piping, and there are 3 pieces we're going to use. We have these little crosses here, and notice they're flat, and that's important because they're not like the roof crosses here. In fact, very often when you buy them on the kit, it says upper end, meaning this is for the top, and then these are the sides. Notice how this is a straight piece, and then they have the 2 bits welded on them. They need their strength up and down, so that's why they list that as the upper end. You have 8 of these, and you have 4 of these, and these actually go on the end because there's no other piece on this side. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of those shorter pieces you see right there, and they're going to go between that and that one and that one and all the way down, and we'll have another end piece on that end, and we'll do it for both sides here. And here's a tip for you, and I'll mention it now. Notice I have writing, an arrow on this and an arrow here. Before you take this thing apart, take a magic marker and write down where everything is. So this stands for lower, and this is the up end. Technically the end doesn't matter, but for these pieces here, in case you forget and the sticker falls off, just put an arrow on that, knowing that that's the top piece, and over here I think this piece probably, yeah, see, there we go. If we have the arrow going up, that's how it was last year. So you can go through in the springtime before you take it down and mark down where everything is. That way if you're putting it up again, it's a no-brainer. Okay, and the final bit of the puzzle, it's easy. You just take this beam right here, you stick it into the end. And there's a lot of slop in this right now, so you can just kind of, this is hard to do with one hand looking through a camera. but you place it in like that and you close it up. Now they're pretty sloppy, they're going to float around and you have to be a little careful here. If you need to, you can use a rope and tie the ends together to keep this solid. But the next step we're going to do in this process is the roof truss, and they're going to actually bridge the top here. And this is where these other crosses come into play. I mentioned the straight ones. Well, now you have a variety of these, and they're crossed, but if you noticed, they have an arch to them because they are the top piece. And you have, I think, 4 of these, and you have 2 of these, which are end pieces, obviously. And they go into these roof truss beams that you see here. So ultimately what we're doing here is we're going to be taking the bottom part goes into our wall right there. And the top part is going to go into the bottom part of our top piece here. And this is going to put the whole building under some tension. Because the walls, they're faced out a little bit. They're faced this way and this way. When you put those trusses in, it's going to tighten them up a little bit. But once again, there's nothing holding it from, forward or back. So in this situation, it's not very windy. They'll hold up just fine, but the tarp is ultimately going to be our main structural component. Okay, so we're going right along. I've done the first one already, and you can see the piece there. And here's one piece going in, and it terminates, and the other one that you can see right there, lighting's not great, but that's okay. Now, here's a step it's important to do, so I'm going to show you how. You need to take one of your shorter pieces, one of these, one of the 15 you have, put it up in the hole there. And it may be up or down because this next piece we have is kind of a complicated one to put in. We've got to put this cross in, and it's got to be this way because that's the way the roof tilts. And we have to get that end piece in, and we also have to get those 3 pieces in. So that's a little complicated. It's kind of sprung a little bit. But remember to put that connecting piece in, and you've got to do that several times all the way to when you get to the end. Okay, we've got most of our metal work done. We're almost ready to put the ends on the thing, but we've got one more thing to do, and it deals with the door. In your kit, you'll have 2 smaller beams, and they're quite a bit, they're only maybe about 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch wide, where everything else is at least 1 inch. And this is the upper part of the door, and they actually connect together. You see one is indented. They'll actually snip together like this. Now this is the weakest part of the structure, and probably the part I hate, or not hate, but dislike the most. And you get these little steel brackets here, and you've got to undo them, and the big part goes over the beam here, and then that pole will actually come into the end. So if I grab it here, this pole will actually come right into the end here, and then you'll screw that down, and this is what the front door will hang off of. So it'll go across the front of the structure. And it inevitably always loosens and falls off or does something along those lines. Everything else on this tent is dynamite, but these little brackets here are just more of a pain, but they do the job. But I think on the one back there we've actually screwed them in because that's now more of a permanent tent. But since we take this one down all the time, I just kind of have to leave them hanging there. Okay, so the door beam is up. You can see where the bracket attaches to this here. It tightens around this beam, goes all the way across the other. You pretty much just set it so that's right pipe distance away. So you got all the pipe involved here. And here's a hint for you. Put your hooks on first before you bolt that up. Otherwise, you'll have to undo one of your brackets to get these door hooks. And each door has 2 hooks that holds the top part, and it essentially opens right down the center. So now we're going to put the doors on it. We're going to put the front door and the back door before we actually go with the big main tarp here.